Good evening, all, and welcome to another friendly edition of Friday with Friends. Today's friend, a brand new friend for me, Luis Guarin. Is that the correct pronunciation of your last name?
Yes,
Very
correct.
good. Yeah. Hi, Luis. Good to see you.
Oh, hello,
Nice to
Greg.
meet you. I wrote to you and talked to you on the phone, but now it's the first step. This is called in person now. So
Yes,
in person has changed.
nice meeting you. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll just share a little bit about Luis. Luis is a naval architect. You are the first naval architect that I've personally known. Originally from Colombia, then you studied and got your master's in Poland, and then your PhD in Glasgow. I imagine that's a very important naval architectural school there, being at this on the coast. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Greg. It's nice to be here with you.
The title or the theme of today's is everything happens at the right time. Everything happens at the right time. Tell me, Luis, when you hear that phrase, what thoughts filter through your mind?
I think what first comes to mind is the fact that I cannot control anything outside myself. I can only control me, and I just let life flow, and I just take whatever appears in front of me, and I try to just control what I can control, which is myself, and everything comes at the right time, at the right moment, and I accept it.
Is this something that you had a natural inclination to believe, or is something that time has taught you?
I think it was a natural inclination. It has always been like that. I had obviously some ideas of what I want to do, but life has always put opportunities in my path, and I just try to see them, try to pay attention, and take the opportunities when they present themselves. And so it's like a natural flow that I have.
You mentioned something there about, to pay attention, and something that I was thinking almost the same thing as that is okay. Say we agree on that everything happens at the right time, but don't I have to be aware that it's happening so that I can act and move at the right time?
Yes, I think that's key to everything, is to try to see the signs. I think in life there are many things happening around us, and some of them are not very relevant, but there are some that are very, very relevant to our lives. And I try to do my best to be alert and aware of what is relevant to me, and just enter through the doors that life puts in front of me, doors that are open. So that's pretty much my life vision.
Yeah, I like that you reminded me of my college days. And one thing that I used to do on my free time is if I'd go somewhere, I'd try a door, and if the door was open, I'd go in it, and
Yeah.
and then just and find out what happens. It didn't
Yeah.
always work perfectly, but it definitely was entertaining to do that, because that's the door that is open.
Yeah.
But more in relation to what we're talking about, in order to see, that maybe I have to change my vision. Maybe my vision isn't always good. Have you found that in your life that, as I don't know if you can add to your vision or whether you subtract things from your vision, whatever that it is, have you found there's a relationship between altering your vision and what comes in front of you?
Yes, I think the vision doesn't have to be very specific or very very accurate. There is a high-level vision that intuitively I have. More of peace and family and relationships, especially relationships, and around that I can build, I can improvise, but that is really the important part of it, and so I think the vision has remained the same, but how it is realized in detail is something that that happens, and this is where it is important to be alert and ready to see the signs.
To see the signs.
Yeah, in many occasions, it's just people that appear in your life, and you feel driven to those people or to those relationships, and you commit to the relationships and to the situations, trying to do your best, trying to be. The vision is to be yourself and to be honest to your true self, and then somehow the doors keep opening in front of you, and you just have to follow the path. So I don't think I have changed my vision and my high level expectations, but I improvise as I go along.
You know, it sounds very exciting, actually. A word, as I'm listening to you talk, a word keeps coming up for me, and that word is trust. Is that the things that you're saying means that you have a lot of trust in your, not only in your intuition, but in your ability to follow through on where your intuition is bringing you, and that the things coming before you are the right things. Is trust a word that you find easy?
Yes, I think that's trust in the universe to some extent. I believe the universe has a plan, and I try to fit into that plan, whatever it is. And I am not too worried about what the exact plan is.
Yeah.
So I trust. It to some extent is faith. Faith that whatever lies ahead, even if I don't see it, is going to be good. And that's it. That's all.
Do you think it's also related to making your best effort of what's in front of you? And then you don't really have to worry about the results because you know that you've done your best, and because of your trust in the universe, so to say, that it will come out. It may, like planting a seed. Yeah. It doesn't sprout up tomorrow, but you have knowledge of how the universe works, and so you don't mind waiting until it comes to fruition.
Yes, correct. That's very true. When I was quite young, I think I must have been 12 years old, I think. And one day I was with a friend, and we were talking about this. And I just said, well, life is very easy if you do the right thing. It should be easy. There should not be any difficulties. So I thought about this, and I decided that I will always try to do the right thing. And even when you are young, you always know whether what you are doing is right or not. And so I try to think about that every time I found myself having to make a decision or doing something. Is it the right thing or not? And so once you do that, you learn to recognize the patterns of good decisions to some extent, and you see the effects of that in yourself, but also in people around you. So I learned a lot also from people around me, from my parents, my family, my friends, when they made decisions. I was paying a lot of attention, and so I saw that we can trust the universe. We can have this faith in the universe, because whatever we do will have consequences, and we know intuitively what we are doing. So I just relax and walk the path.
Well, that's very true, but it's not something that you probably learned while being a expert witness at a because the devil's in the details.
Yeah.
And yet here you are, from your own perspective, you're trying, from what I gather from you, you're trying to keep your intellect and mind on a high plane of a universal plane. And because you know that you've done the best of your ability, maybe I would say your conscience is clear, that you can trust what's happening, even though you don't know what's coming your way. It's an interesting counterbalance that you're experiencing in your life, of being so, you have a very, very detailed way of your career is all on details to the thousandth of an inch, and it makes a big difference. And yet you're trusting, almost blindly walking into what's happening next.
Yes, that's very much the case. I believe that whatever we do, we are always serving. We are always working for the universe. So every task, every activity is just a service. And so I try to enjoy that and present myself in the best shape I can to be able to serve well. So that's really the only principle.
How about, and I see that, and I really believe that what you're saying is true, that you found this in yourself, but knowing that everything happens at the right time, has it increased, or do you find it easy that with other people as well, to trust that even though you want something to work out and maybe someone doesn't see it that way, does it influence your vision towards others as well, that you don't hold them to a bar that's higher than they should be at this time?
Yeah, I think it comes with time and years. I think now I am a much better person to be around. My children might say something about that. I was a very strict father, I would say. I was always telling them how high expectations I had, and it wasn't bad, but
Yeah, I get it.
But I think now I am much more relaxed about my family, my children, my friends. I judge less. I try to look inside instead of looking outside, and that made me a bit more calm, and that helps me to be more aware, and that has helped me with my relationships and my life in general. So it's something that you learn as you age. Yeah.
Well, you can, not necessarily, but you can. It's nice if you do. Yeah. And then one last one, that, and probably the reason I thought of this theme in the first place, is that I understand that your family practiced Raja Yoga in Colombia.
Yes.
And yet you had to go across into a different continent and go to Scotland and then come back and then start to do it yourself. So that really is, everything happens at its right time. Do you see it that was perfect the way that it worked?
Yes, I think it could not have happened differently. I obviously went. I did my own path, my own life. I had a family. I started a family quite young, and my life was focused on my PhD. At the time I was doing the PhD, I had my children, so it was very busy. My wife was super busy. but very supportive. And so it was really a time for me to raise a family, to start my career, and so on. And I think now my children are a bit older. They are independent, and I am finding myself again alone. In the sense that I can start looking at my own things and my own mission, vision. And so it was the right time. It was the time I have now available to think about other things. And so I think it could not have happened before, and it is the right time now. And I'm trying to pay attention to the signs and see what happens.
You know, and then one last thing I notice is that if just following the things you talk about, it doesn't leave room for regret. You know, I don't have to experience regret because I'm paying attention, and if the path goes in an unexpected way, I follow that path because I have this faith that I've done my best.
Yes, I think no regret whatsoever. And if you go back, and that's something that I always had present when making a decision, is that I was the one who had to live with that decision for the rest of my life. So I was paying a lot of attention to that. And at that moment, at that particular time, knowing what I knew then, there was no other choice to make. So every important decision I tried to make it like that. And so probably there could have been many things that I could have done better, but sitting here now, I am happy and have no regrets whatsoever.
It's wonderful, isn't it? So life really, you know, it's even though your life is all about details to fractions of an inch, life itself isn't like that, even though it may be working like that. From my point of view, it's very messy, you know, and that I've just got to be very flexible to go with it. So it's all balanced out, you know. Yeah. So it's really good that, you know, I feel that you're lucky. When I'm talking to you, the feeling I'm getting from you is you're very fortunate. You're very fortunate to have a high plane of thinking that carries you through to follow the details of so-called ordinary or mundane life.
Yes, I feel very fortunate, and we cannot really relax because we are fortunate and we receive fortune, but we can only spoil it. So,
yeah.
So it's a constant process of paying attention, learning, and trying to be better. That drives. You know.
Okay, one last question. Has the introduction of Raj Yoga and all the kind of the way of thinking of consciousness has you found benefit in that?
Yes, I am coming to this quite late, but I obviously knew, I was familiar with these practices and these concepts from my mom, my sister, who for many years have been doing this. So I wasn't unfamiliar, but I wasn't ready. And now I had time and the opportunity to experience that myself. And I think there is quite a lot of knowledge to be acquired, and as I learn more, as I absorb more knowledge and improve my understanding, it's easier to start taking practical steps. And it's not very easy to do it, but it takes time and effort, but also knowledge and understanding of what it is, why we are doing it, and how this could influence and impact on my life. So definitively is something that I am enjoying, and I really want to keep exploring and learning.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. I really enjoyed listening to that. And the feeling that I get from you is a term that's often used, and you come ready-made. See, you already come ready-made. A lot of times people learn the things that you're talking about after years of applying principles. You've been doing it all along through your real life. And so it's just shifting it, using the same blueprint that you've always been using, just apply it to this new thing, and easy, easy, easy. So it's a pleasure. Why don't I offer a little bit of a meditation commentary? I'm just going to let it flow based upon what I felt from you today. So just about 2 or 3 minutes, that's all.
Okay.
So first of all, I like to set myself up by making sure that I'm in a physical position that is relaxed, but yet I can remain alert. I add a couple deep breaths to that just to keep the flow going. And I begin to trust. It's something that I've always had. This ability to trust myself moving through time. Because I get a lot of comfort knowing this truth that everything happens at the right time. That makes it easy for me. Everything happens at the right time. So all I have to do is do what's in front of me to the best of my ability. Go through the door that's open. I breathe in a little inspiration. And I remember, I feel that I trust myself going through time. And as I continue to remove some of these old colored lenses from my vision, way that I used to think, my opinions, my beliefs, what I was taught before, as I begin to trust myself, I find myself lighter. I find myself not having to make so many decisions at all, that most things take care of themselves. I just observe. And with this saving of energy that I've had by not wasting it on all those things, I have the ability to make the right decision when the time comes. I see in advance before it takes root and grows. If it needs to be challenged or faced, let me not feed. And I recognize, maybe even more deeply, that everything that I've done in my past has brought me to this moment at the right time. And I'm now free to choose what I think is best, without any influence from the past, influence of worry about the future, influence of past teaching. I'm free to decide here and now who I want to be. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Luis, it's a real pleasure to make your acquaintance, and I call you my friend.
Likewise, Craig.
Yes.
It was
Yes.
really a pleasure to talk.
I look forward to meeting you in person. So
Thank you.
until then, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.